the skies over the Middle East are filled with tension and the sounds of conflict. For 6 days, a dangerous new chapter has opened between two long-standing adversaries, Israel and Iran. The conflict has now moved from the shadows into the open, with direct military strikes. Recently, explosions have rocked the Iranian capital, Tehran, marking a significant escalation in this undeclared war. These are not random acts of violence. Israel has taken responsibility for these attacks, stating that it has targeted crucial sites related to Iran's weapons development and its controversial nuclear program, a program the world watches with great concern. The targets chosen by Israel are highly specific and strategic, aiming to degrade Iran's military and scientific capabilities. The attacks have focused on facilities used for producing centrifuges, which are essential for enriching uranium, and on sites believed to be part of Iran's weapons manufacturing infrastructure. This direct assault on Iranian soil is a bold and risky move, representing a major shift in strategy. Previously, the conflict was fought through proxies and covert operations. Now, the confrontation is direct, with each side openly claiming its actions and issuing threats against the other, raising fears of a much wider, more devastating regional war. In response to these Israeli strikes, Iran has not remained silent. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, has retaliated by launching its own volleys of missiles toward Israel. Among these weapons is the hypersonic Fatah missile, a projectile that Iran proudly claims can bypass Israel's sophisticated air defense systems, like the Iron Dome. This claim, whether fully proven or not, adds another layer of danger to the situation. It shows that Iran possesses advanced military technology and is willing to use it, creating a perilous cycle of attack and counterattack that pushes both nations closer to an all-out war. The rhetoric from both sides has become increasingly inflammatory. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz declared that Iran's symbols of power are being bombed and collapsing, drawing a parallel to the fall of other dictatorships. He even issued a direct warning to Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, suggesting he could face a fate similar to that of Saddam Hussein. On the other side, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has vowed that his country will not surrender to pressure. This war of words accompanies the real-world violence, making diplomatic solutions seem more distant and leaving the international community on high alert. The current fighting did not appear out of nowhere. For decades, Israel and Iran have been engaged in what is often called a shadow war. This long-standing conflict has been fought indirectly through cyber attacks, assassinations of scientists, and support for opposing groups across the Middle East. Israel has long viewed Iran's nuclear ambitions as an existential threat, fearing that a nuclear-armed Iran would not hesitate to use such weapons against it. Iran, in turn, sees Israel as an illegitimate state and an extension of American influence in the region, working to undermine its power and security at every turn. The historical context is rooted in deep ideological and geopolitical differences. After the Iranian Revolution in 1979, the new Islamic Republic adopted a fiercely anti-Israel stance. Since then, Iran has supported militant groups hostile to Israel, such as Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza, providing them with funding, training, and weapons. Israel has responded with its own covert operations, aimed at sabotaging Iran's nuclear program and weakening its regional influence. This long-running, low-level warfare has created a foundation of deep mistrust and animosity, setting the stage for the direct military confrontations we are seeing today. A critical turning point was the recent escalation in Iran's nuclear activities. The International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, the world's nuclear watchdog, passed a severe censure resolution against Iran for failing to comply with its nuclear obligations. This was a very serious step, the first of its kind in 2 decades. In a defiant response, Iran announced it would build a new uranium enrichment site and install more advanced centrifuges. It is already enriching uranium to 60% purity, a level that is very close to what is needed for a nuclear weapon, further alarming Israel and the international community. This backdrop of simmering hostility and nuclear brinkmanship explains the current explosive situation. The shadow war has now burst into the open, with both nations deciding that direct action is necessary to protect their interests. Iran's rejection of a United States proposal to limit its enrichment program and its subsequent missile launches toward Israel were seen as major provocations. Israel's response, striking deep inside Iran, was a clear signal that the old rules no longer apply. The conflict has moved from the shadows to the front lines, and the potential consequences for the entire region are immense. Every conflict has a devastating human price, and this one is no different. The recent wave of attacks has led to significant casualties on all sides, turning geopolitical tensions into personal tragedies for countless families. In Iran, reports indicate that the Israeli strikes have killed over 240 people, a grim toll that includes at least 70 women and children. In Israel, the retaliatory missile attacks from Iran have resulted in the deaths of more than 24 people. These numbers represent lives lost and communities shattered by the escalating violence, a stark reminder of the real-world impact of these military decisions. The suffering extends beyond the borders of Israel and Iran. In Gaza, the situation remains catastrophic. As the wider regional conflict intensifies, Israeli forces have continued their operations there, resulting in more Palestinian deaths. In one recent and tragic incident in the city of Khan Yunis, at least 89 Palestinians were killed, including 70 people who were desperately seeking food aid. This adds to the staggering death toll in Gaza, which has surpassed 55,000 people since the conflict there began in October 2023. These events are interconnected, showing how violence in one area can inflame and worsen humanitarian crises elsewhere in the region. Amidst this turmoil, the role of the United States has been marked by confusing and contradictory messages from President Donald Trump. On one hand, he has issued severe threats demanding Iran's unconditional surrender and warning residents to immediately evacuate Tehran. He has boasted of American military dominance, claiming complete and total control of the skies over Iran. These statements suggest a readiness for a full-scale military confrontation. The United States has even ordered the voluntary departure of non-essential diplomatic staff from its embassy in Iraq and military families from across the Middle East, signaling a high level of alert. On the other hand, President Trump has also spoken about the need for a deal. He recently insisted that Israel and Iran should make a deal with his help, and had planned for American negotiators to meet with their Iranian counterparts this week. Yet he also claimed a 60-day deadline for a diplomatic solution had already passed. This inconsistency creates uncertainty among allies and adversaries alike. While the United States may not be providing direct military support for Israeli strikes, its intelligence assistance and unpredictable rhetoric make it a central yet volatile player in this dangerous and expanding crisis. The direct targeting of Iran's nuclear facilities has sent shockwaves through the international community, raising the stakes of this conflict to a frightening new level. The IAEA has confirmed that Israeli strikes hit 2 critical centrifuge production plants. At a facility in Karaj, 2 buildings used to make centrifuge parts were destroyed. More alarmingly, a building at the Tehran Research Center, where advanced centrifuge rotors were manufactured and tested, was also hit. These attacks are a direct assault on the heart of Iran's nuclear program, a program that has been a source of global concern for years. This escalation carries the profound risk of a wider regional war that could draw in other countries and disrupt the global economy. Britain has already issued warnings about new threats to commercial shipping in the Middle East, a vital artery for the world's oil supply. Iran has threatened that all United States military bases in the region would become legitimate targets if a full-scale war breaks out. Such a conflict would not only cause immense human suffering, but could also trigger a global energy crisis and economic instability, affecting nations far beyond the immediate zone of conflict. The international community is watching with grave concern, understanding that the path of escalation leads only to disaster. Despite the fighting, there are still faint glimmers of diplomacy. Oman is reportedly preparing to host another round of nuclear talks between the United States and Iran, though the prospects for success seem slim amidst the ongoing attacks. The world is caught between the drumbeat of war and the desperate need for dialogue. The future of regional stability, and perhaps global peace, hangs precariously in the balance, depending on whether leaders choose confrontation or negotiation. Ultimately, this conflict serves as a stark reminder of why peace is not just a noble ideal, but an urgent necessity. The cycle of violence, retaliation, and increasingly dangerous brinkmanship threatens to unleash a catastrophe that would benefit no one. Leaders on all sides must recognize that security cannot be achieved through bombs and threats. It can only be built on a foundation of mutual respect, diplomacy, and a commitment to resolving differences through peaceful means. The world is holding its breath, hoping that reason will prevail before it is too late, and the region descends into a war from which it may not easily recover.